I'm familiar.
Are here at Captain Clay's new, beautiful space.
This is a really cool concept of
Yes.
a business. You know, it's one of these old school, like, mom and pop markets,
Yep.
you know, to bring fish in straight from the sea, to bring it right in the store and be able to be right on your dinner table later on that evening. You can't really beat that.
No, this is why we live in Florida. It's
Yes.
for moments like this. I mean, as we're surrounded by so many beautiful things that are just as delicious as they look.
And it's locally caught.
Exactly.
This stuff is not shipped from across
Nope.
the country.
Family owned. I mean, this is what you want. When you think of seafood, this is the place to come.
Fresh.
Okay, so many people love Captain Clay's, and they also have a space at the Green Market. So while you were away, I was lucky enough to go and see them at the Green Market, and they have fans, they have groupies, people are waiting for them. So let's see what they have to say. So I just gushed about how amazing Captain Clay is, but don't just take my word for it. There are incredible people right next to me who come to see him. So tell me a little bit about why you come to Captain Clay.
So we live in New York, in a beach town. So we get fresh fish in New York. And when I came to Florida, I said, I need to find a place that's comparable.
Yeah.
And I Googled fish stores, and this place came up, and I never turned back. We walked in, the guys were cutting it fresh right off the bone. It was the best tasting fish I've ever had.
You can't get fresher fish anywhere. As a matter of fact, try to get grouper in any restaurant. You can't do it. So you can only get it. You only get a Captain Clay. Now they moved into a brand new facility. It's gorgeous. It's big. They're just perfect.
And which is your favorite?
I'd have to say grouper, and also they have pink swordfish. Swordfish that eat primarily shrimp.
When swordfish are feeding on the pink shrimp, it turns it pink, and it's a little sweeter. It's not common. You don't get it all the time.
I have never heard of that, and I like anything pink, so we're gonna have to try it.
100%.
We're gonna have to come back. Thank you so much. You heard it here, guys. Come and check out Captain Clay. So your fans from New York that we met at the Green Market love the swordfish.
Pumpkin swordfish is a special fish. I know you're talking about the pumpkin swordfish
Yeah.
because that's what people go crazy about. Swordfish's typical diet is other fish and squid, and a pumpkin swordfish, for whatever reason, favor shrimp. Out here in deep water, we have these red shrimp, and every time we cut open a pumpkin swordfish, their insides are full of these red shrimp. Wow. And it makes it just the butteriest swordfish you'll ever eat. It's absolutely
I think
delicious.
if you cut me open, I'm kind of pumpkin too.
So flavor-wise, what is the difference between like a traditional swordfish and a pumpkin swordfish?
A regular swordfish is going to be leaner, and a pumpkin swordfish is going to be more marbled, just be butterier.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, it'll be the butteriest swordfish you ever eat.
Wow.
Speaking of buttery fish,
Right, who are we looking at here?
so this guy right here is a cobia,
Okay.
personal friend of ours, Brandon, caught that right out here yesterday. He caught it spearfishing. You can see the hole right around there somewhere. And cobia follow around bull sharks and big rays, fish that swim low with big wings. So as they're swimming by, the sand that they're swimming on top of moves, and the crabs that are right underneath the surface of the sand become visible from those fish swimming by, and they eat those crabs.
Wow.
Cobia is a steaky, textured fish that has really awesome marbling in it. And when you cook it, all that marbling renders out and turns that dense, steaky fish into a fork tender, juicy fish.
wow.
And it does have a mild shellfish flavor from its diet.
That's
super
so
good
cool.
fish.
wow.
And cobia migrate through this way in the springtime.
Okay.
So we haven't had cobia for a while, and now they're coming through, so we're starting to see them. And that's kind of how most of our fish works. It's just whatever they're catching out there is what we have in here for the most part.
That's amazing. So Jamel is a fisherman
Yes,
of sorts.
somewhat.
He loves to fish.
Yes.
So when he heard we were coming here, he's like, yes. I was like, oh, this is your jam.
Well, you know, the funny thing about it is that I follow you guys on IG.
Yeah.
So every time I watch it, I go in and watch you clean the fish, you know, but fillet it, all of this crazy
It's an
thing. But I
art.
never put two and two that you were right here in Delray Beach. I was just like, oh man, this is awesome. The first one I seen were when you were filleting the clown knifefish.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
which is probably one of the most craziest fish that you can catch here in Lake Ida and in the freshwater lakes and everything. But I just really think you feel the energy, you see your love, you know, for this industry.
Yes.
And I think that it shows too for you guys having all of this fresh, fish, and you have the local fishermen bringing everything here to your shop.
Beautiful.
And I really can say it like it comes from the sea straight to your table.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you want, right? When we're
Heck yeah.
buying fish, you don't want some nasty one. You go to some other places and you see the fish and you're like, why is it that color? I don't think it should look like that.
Yes.
You come in here and look at even how they display it. It's beautiful. I mean, it really is like an art, just the way that you fillet it and everything, and every single touch point is so, I mean, it's beautiful.
And I
Thank you so much.
Yesterday, I was here while some of your clients, people were buying different things, and your employees were actually explaining to them how to cook the fish. This is a way to cook that. And I think that's really great, because sometimes you go to the grocery store,
and you're like, what do I do with this?
And
I
take
don't
this
know.
fish home, and you think you can cook every fish the same way, but you can't.
Yeah.
So just getting that knowledge behind how to prepare it, I think, is awesome.
Yeah, it's important to have a good fishmonger behind the counter taking care of
So
you.
you call it a fishmonger?
Fishmonger,
I love it.
The guy behind the counter. All the guys we have behind the counter can clean your fish any way you want, can hold your hand step by step, instruct you on how to prepare anything that's in our display case. And we're very proud of the fishmongers we have that work here.
A favorite?
A favorite fishmonger?
Or that too, but I meant fish.
Okay, let's go fish. I'll say my favorite fishmonger on camera.
Like, who do we ask for when we come? No, do you have a favorite fish?
Absolutely. So this guy right here, golden tilefish.
Wow, look at
Fluffy
him.
white sweet meat. It is just an absolutely delicious fish, and it's hard for me to say a favorite, because
fair
when you
enough.
have hours out of the water fish, hours out of the water fish is hours out of the water fish. No matter how you toss it, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
As long as you cook it the way our
Amazing.
fishmongers tell you to.
Yeah, right. Make sure
but-
you ask. Make sure you ask.
But golden tilefish is just an especially delicious fish.
Okay.
And yeah, so we're family over here. Got my
Wow.
brother Clay here with us.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Tell me, Clay, when you talk about other fish markets that's in this area, what really sets you guys apart from the other markets in this area?
Well, we put a really big emphasis, not saying anyone doesn't, but we put a really big emphasis on getting in the local fish. We work with a bunch of local guys. We've got guys down in the Keys, we've got guys in the Gulf up towards Stewart, right out here, all over the place, all over the state and all over the place, making sure that we've got fish. So if it's blowing in one area, we can get something from someplace else, and we can kind of, balance it like that. And then if something's closed in one spot, it might be available, or they might be catching it someplace else. So, we do that to kind of keep that year-round availability of good fish.
That's amazing, because I know with a lot of other things, you can't, like, talk about vegetables. Certain things are seasonal. You can't get them all the time. And so having that community of people that you rely on and and trust and stand behind is so big for all of us who don't know what to do or where to go. So when we're looking for something special, we can come and find when this is available or that's available and try something new, which is fantastic. So do you have a favorite fish?
Do I have a favorite fish? It's got to be the pumpkin swordfish when we have
Oh, just like your fan said. Okay, we got to try that one.
And I think it was at one point, I think it was on the swordfish, there was some little jelly that you were eating out of the spine.
The swordfish spines loaded with collagen. It's very good for you. I don't recommend anybody doing that, but I personally enjoy doing that.
He's like, disclaimer, don't do this at home,
Don't do
kids.
this at home.
Sometimes I think he does it to gross the fishermen out too.
One of our swordfishermen, who's also a friend of ours, his swordfish was so big we had to cut it in half to just get it out of the cooler. It was massive. And when we cut it in half, I ate the marrow raw that was visible in the center of the spine. And then he sticks his head inside, he goes, Clay, Reed's doing weird stuff again.
So you guys always have fresh fish in here. When somebody's going out to really purchase fish, what do they look for? Is it the color? What's something to look for to know that your fish is your fish is really fresh? I say fresh, but
You got to make sure you're going to the right place.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
You just come here, that's all. That's it.
Make sure you're going to the right place.
Yes.
Right.
Is a good one. Make sure your fish have beautiful clear eyes like this does. That's another one. When you push on a fish, you can see how it bounces right back. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but it does not hold a fingerprint. If you push on a fish and it holds that fingerprint, I wouldn't buy it personally.
Run.
And then you also look for bright red, beautiful gills.
Okay.
So gills are exposed blood. Those are going to be the first things to oxidate and discolor. So when they're bright red, you know it's a right out of the water fish.
Wow.
That's good information.
That is great information. Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, we go to the store, we don't know what to do.
Right.
Well, that's why you just need to come to the experts. Then they leave all that guesswork out of it. All you have to decide is which one or how many, really, because you can't just leave with one thing here that you're going to get.
And it's really depending on today's catch or whatever the catch is of the day is what you guys have. So it's not like you have the same fish all the time because it's really seasonal too. At the
Right.
same
So
time.
windy weather, you might have a little bit less as far as options, or you know, than when you've got great weather, or when it's still, and when a lot of things are open, you might have a lot more variety. But you work with the guys to make sure that you're filling the case up. By the way, so like right now we've got this morning we'll have a couple of guys bringing in some stone crab and some swordfish to round out the case.
Pumpkin swordfish.
He said none of them had color. That's always my first
Everybody
response.
talk about, I never tried this. I was like,
Okay,
you know
well, we
what?
need to talk about everybody's favorite. So anybody who knows Captain Clay's, this is what they come for. I know, Mauricio, can you see? Okay, the fish dip. This stuff, and I will be buying one before I leave because I know you come back in an hour, it's all gone. Tell us a little bit about your beautiful fish dip. I'm gonna turn it around so people can see. It is, I mean, this is not like a basic little mushy fish dip that you
So
can
it's
get at a
hand
store.
cut. It's got green onion, celery, lightly spiced, just a little bit of mayonnaise as a binder. We've got everything out in the case gets its time out in the case, and then it gets taken out back and smoked. So that way we're constantly rotating through fish. It helps us make sure that what we've got out here is nice and fresh, and it also helps produce something that our customers
Well,
really
you
love.
said that kind of fast. So the fish the fish that you probably don't sell, or the fish that's left over, is that the fish that's?
That's
Yes,
we'll
that's
pop
what's
that
here.
on the
Yes.
smoker, and then get it in the fish dip and get the, just kind of keep everything cycling through, get the new stuff out in the case.
That's
And it's
really-
great because they're not wasting.
I
Nothing
agree.
is being wasted. This beautiful fish is being repurposed into something that is so delicious.
Once again, this is not shipped from
No,
across the country. This is not.
it's smoked here.
Yeah, this is not the what is it?
The mushy one.
The chicken of the sea.
Mushy
It's not
stuff.
made from the chicken of the sea or the tuna can.
Not from the blender.
No, exactly. And that's the thing. And the price, guys. Okay, so this is $8.99, and I'm just as a mom, I think about numbers a lot and what I'm giving my family. And the thing is, you go to some of these other places, you're paying more than this. It's not fresh, it's not delicious. You definitely don't have any vegetables in it. And this is something that my 6-year-old, who's a little picky, she loves. The flavor's so good, and the texture. I think because it's not mushy, it's chunky.
Well-
it's not so off-putting to the little ones.
I haven't tried it yet, but I am going to try it.
Oh,
But
you
the
better
one
get
thing,
one
the
while
one
we're
thing
here.
I can see is that you don't have all those fillers in it.
Yeah, nope.
Like you said, a little mayo. Some people stack it with mayo and stack it with all these other stuff to try to fill it. But this is really a small amount of vegetables and also and the rest fish. So yeah, I'm gonna actually purchase this
The
one. also.
other thing that I think we should mention as we're in here is that you have other items too, so people can make a complete dinner. You have beautiful things that I know you were mentioning. New things come every day, and you're carefully curating these items that you have in your pantry here.
Right, so we're working with a couple of local companies and as keeping everything as local as we can. To just kind of fill out the case, we are trying to get some cheeses out there, some maybe some cured
beautiful.
meats, some more condiments, hot sauces, rices, and stuff like that.
Yes.
Just so that we also trying to work with a couple of local places to figure out the best way to get some produce in too. So you can come in and you can really make it a one-stop shop. You can get your fish, you can get your
everything
side,
you
you
need.
can get your vegetable, and you can finish out your dinner in one spot.
Let's still have to look at the
Oh my
small
gosh,
crab
I
legs.
know, this is insane. Look at these claws, what?
And are these locally caught?
These are we get our stone crab out of the Keys and out of the Gulf.
Okay.
Wow.
So all wild Florida.
Oh wow.
So what is the board behind you? What is this talking about?
So our board right here gets rewritten every day. You see today's locals on the left-hand side, not locals on the right-hand side. So today's locals, we specify local as just about anything caught in South Florida.
Okay.
And we have a couple of local fishermen that we work with on the west coast of Florida. Most of it is from Jupiter down to the Keys, all just in this general area.
Everything.
And like that cobia you're looking in the case, that was, swimming around yesterday afternoon. It's in the display case today, and it's
say
going to
it
be
like
going
that.
on the locals board.
Now she's going to be eating. She's going to give you dinner.
I like that.
So Captain Clay has been commercial fish. Our dad, Captain Clay, has been commercial
That's good,
fishing
man.
out here since the 70s.
Wow.
It's a local commercial boat that fishes for our shop. We also work with a bunch of other local commercial fishermen, and that board is just whatever they caught is what we got.
So cool.
And it's changing on a daily basis because it's just whatever those guys are bringing in.
So what's the craziest thing that the captain has brought in here and is like, here we go, fellas? What is that one thing he's like, oh my gosh, like what's that OMG moment?
He's found some weird stuff down there.
I'd say something that's really cool is he's a passionate diver and spear fisherman, and he catches a ton of local Florida lobsters. Florida lobster season opens August 6th.
That's my birthday. I like it,
Nice.
guys. That's a good birthday
You got a
present.
lobster birthday.
All right.
So anyways, he, during opening season, when the lobsters are especially large, can come in with some massive Florida lobsters. The biggest one that I've ever seen in person was over 14 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, so my...
I know. I didn't. You think of like lobster.
So you get some monsters.
Oh my god.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Captain Clay, I think we have an awesome
We have to
interview.
show the famous
awesome
Captain
interview
Clay.
with your dad. You know, so let's
At the
let's go
Green
ahead-
Market.
At the Green Market. Let's go ahead and take a look at that clip.
Everyone in town loves what you do and is so passionate when they talk about what you do.
Because we're so passionate about what we do, so it rubs off. Every fish you see here was cut off the bone this morning. None of these fish will go to tomorrow's case. We take it when we're all done and we put it in a big plastic bag. The next day we smoke it for 6 to 8 hours and we turn it to a smoked fish dip over here. So the smoked fish dip is made out of the finest fish money can buy, so it sells out very quickly. In turn, it also lets us have the freshest possible fish that anyone could have asked for.
You obviously have a beautiful variety of fish. Do you have a favorite?
I do. Hog snapper is one of my favorite. We can't hardly get them anymore. Golden tilefish is awesome. Yellowtail snapper. On the grouper family, the deep water ones like the yellow edge and the snowies are just fantastic. The shallow water grouper like the scamp grouper is just one of my favorite scamps. And the shallow water snapper, mangrove snapper is probably my favorite. I have so many favorites. I'm the lucky one.
You are the lucky one. Can you tell us a little bit about why you still continue to come to the Green Market even when you have your other space?
Well, the reason I'm here is so that when people like you come up and say, boy, that's the best fish I ever had, I can say, well, here's my card. And we do happen to have a storefront and you can go right up there and get it. That's why I'm here. It's really sending everybody up there.
So it's wonderful, and if you haven't been to see him, you have to come. Get here early before it sells out. You are going to have fish like never before.
I agree. That's what you should do. If you want the best possible fish you can get, you need to come to Captain Clay and Son Seafood Market.
So much fun getting to see him at the Green Market. He has so many fans, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. Like, these people were like, oh, and running up to him. Like, I mean, a real celebrity. Everyone in town knows you guys and are so excited. So I just want to ask you one question really quick. Why do you guys go to the Green Market and have this at the same time? Is there a reason that the two of you feel like this is important for your business?
I mean, we'd like to make sure that anybody going to the Green Market who maybe hasn't made their way over
Yeah.
here, we'd like to kind of funnel them over here, and we'd like to make sure that, you know, people who are going over there on the weekends can just make sure they get a piece of fish without having to make the extra trip.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We want to introduce ourselves to anybody that doesn't know we're here.
All right, so one of the coolest things I think is just watching somebody really clean a fish and go through that whole process. So if I'm coming in here and I want to order a snapper, what type of snapper is this?
We got a yellowtail snapper right here.
Yellowtail snapper. What's that process? So you come in, how do you fillet it, how you cook it? Like, what's the best parts of it? Can you walk us through that whole process?
Yeah, absolutely. Come over here. Let's get this guy cut up for you.
Ooh, exciting. So Jamel's gonna fangirl over this. This is his favorite.
So most customers want to fillet with skin off, bones out.
Okay.
But we can clean any fish anyway. On yellowtail snappers, some customers take the scales off, clip the fins off, cook them whole. Some customers want us to butterfly them, which when we open it up, we'll take out the center spine so that way you can stuff it with whatever you want. But I'm going to show you guys the most popular way to prepare this fish, what we sell the most of, which is just filleted, skin off, bones out.
Okay.
Now we're going to do that is we pick up the fin, and we're gonna go right behind the head at an angle. You wanna go at an angle so you don't lose any of the meat behind the head. Tip of the knife right at the base of that opening and just slide it right on top of the dorsal fin. Wipe the scales off your knife. Now you can rest your knife right on top of the skeleton and pull back, and you're letting the skeleton guide your knife because you don't want to lose any of that meat. So you see we scraped right on top of those bones, no meat lost. Now that we're at the center, we can stick the tip of the knife at the base of the ribs, angle it slightly up, and separate the connection the pin bones make to the ribs. Now that you've separated the connection the pin bones make to the ribs, you can stick the tip of your knife on the second side and start sliding down. Rest your knife right on top of those ribs. And there you go. There's your gorgeous fillet. And we're gonna trim it up. And to remove the skin, we're gonna start the base of the tail at a harder angle. Once your knife is under there, you can just give it a nice little wiggle and it comes right off.
Wow.
And right here we have pin bones. So that bone was connected to the ribs, and that's what we separated when we did the behind the head cut. And you can feel with your fingers where they are. And we're just gonna go on both sides of that pin bone line, pick it up, separate it, and there you go. You got a boneless, skinless fillet. And
That's gorgeous.
Locally caught yellowtail snapper, boneless, skinless fillets are what we sell the most of out of our local yellowtail snapper.
You know, the one cool thing also that I seen after you guys filleted fish, you took the skeletal part and made a soup.
Yeah.
So is that something also that you guys sell here? Is it like a fish soup, or like we're really not letting anything go to waste?
No, it's amazing.
You know, in that whole process.
Yeah, so at our other location, we were smaller and we just really didn't have the space for those kinds of things. And our small cooler, all we could fit was all the fish that we were going to sell that day. now we have a little bit more fridge space, so we're going to be bringing in more of Captain Clay's fish soup, which he makes a great one. And then we also make a great fish stock. We'll have those kinds of things in our fridges and freezers as well. We're going to be easing into that as we're getting more familiar with our new larger space.
I think it's really cool. I've seen people go in and they just buy a whole fish head, and I'm thinking like, there's nothing in there. What are you doing with
that?
You buy the fish head, but I think that's probably something that they were doing with it to cook down the stock and probably get some of that fish cheek meat that people start telling me about.
There's honestly so much meat inside the head. On a smaller fish like this, not so much, but a large grouper head, there's a good amount of meat in there, and we love that we have a bunch of customers that like buying them because it's so nice to make sure that every part of the animal is being used. Yeah. We try our best to do that.
I love it.
I love too how this is set up in this location where people can watch. It's like a show.
Yeah. You know, when we were opening up our new shop, we listened to our customers, and something they were able to do at our last shop was watch their fish get cut. Yeah. And that's something that they really enjoy, and we wanted to make sure that we kept that going. So this is where all of our fish gets processed. So every fish that you saw in that display case was cut right here in this room this morning. And it's just a constant rollover of product. And love having it open so that way the customers can come over and engage with their fishmongers, and while we're cutting up their fish, they can ask us questions about either what we're doing or recommendations on how to cook and things like that.
Are there any fish that you recommend leaving the skin on for?
You know, the snapper, any snapper, if you take the scales off and get the skin crispy, it's delicious. Then there's fish like grouper, which I don't think the skin tastes good. Yeah. It's even if you take the scales off, it's going to be a little bit rubberier.
Yeah, you don't want that. That's not so good.
Your fishmonger can always guide you on which fish has a tasty skin, which one you don't recommend eating. What were you going to say, Clay?
Even that is sometimes when you are grilling the fish or you're baking it, if you leave the skin on, it helps kind of hold the fish together. And then when it's done, the meat will peel right off the skin. That way it just helps get you that little bit more moisture in the cook.
So they need to ask the questions.
Salmon and skin chips before they take the salmon and they.
Oh yeah,
it was really
I've seen those.
Yeah, when it's done right, that's why I was asking, because I was like, a lot of times we'll cook the salmon with the skin on. I was like, should I always be taking it off? And I'm like doing the wrong thing.
It's great.
It is. It's delicious.
So, is there anything else about Captain Clay's that you guys that we haven't touched on that you really want to share and you want people to know?
Not to my knowledge. Network of local commercial fishermen that drop their catch off daily. Fish that's cut and put in the display case daily. Homemade smoked fish dip that's made daily. We have
you can't beat it.
Florida stone crab claws, Florida shrimp, Florida clams and oysters. I think we just touched all bases. We're really proud of what we do here.
I mean, when you're looking for, something to make for dinner, or you want a fresh caught, just fresh caught fish or some fresh seafood, this is the place to come.
The place.
You really can't beat it. If you just want to come in, if you're a chef, if you just like being in the kitchen, trying new things, this is a place to be. I'm getting some
That's right, he has a lot of ideas. And you have experts right there to help you when you buy it. So you know that you are going into that kitchen with information.
Fishmongers, not experts.
They're experts. So that way you know when you walk in your kitchen, you're not going to destroy this beautiful fish, and you can actually make it taste delicious and share it with someone.
Can people, how can they place an order in advance? Can they do it on the website?
For right now, they can call. We'll get the order in. We fill them in order. As we finish the order, we call you, let you know it's ready.
Oh, wow.
And you can pop in and grab it, or if you want to pay over the phone and have us run it out to you, we're happy to do it that way too. We're looking at setting up shipping and online ordering, especially as our snowbirds start heading back home. We want to make sure that we can get stuff up to them wherever they head to.
They're missing you when they're not here, as we
We're
heard
missing
earlier.
them too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That is great. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
I know a lot of people really going to be coming over. Even yesterday, I seen a lot of people coming in. I know people at Green Market, your fans, they love it. So, I mean, to have those people that are actually coming down from the north, they're down here seasonally.
And they look forward to it. They look forward to seeing you.
Up to them, up in the Northeast, I think that's lovely also. So with no further ado, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to those of you either at work, in your car, or sitting on your phone, or whatever you're doing, sitting on your couch, come and grab dinner. And after that, have a Delray day. Peace. Love you.